Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio from Boise, Idaho. This is your host, Adam Graham. In a moment, we're going to bring you this week's episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. But first, I do want to encourage you, if you are enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software. And remember, as you're making your travel plans for the summer, think of JohnnyDollarAir.com first. JohnnyDollarAir.com is a Priceline affiliate link. So part of the purchase price, if you purchase through there, goes to support the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio at no additional cost to you. Now, from January 19th, 1958, here is the 11 o'clock matter.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Johnny Dollar.
Pat McCracken, Johnny, Universal Adjustment Bureau.
Hi, Pat. What's on your mind?
Ever heard of A, B, and C?
Well, yeah, back in the first grade.
Oh, look, I'm not talking about the alphabet. I'm talking about an advertising agent.
Oh, well, what about it?
Well, the A stands for Appleton. Alfred Appleton, 55 years old, and Eastern Trust has his life insured for $100,000.
So?
It's annuity. It starts paying off at the age of 65, and we'd like to see him collect it. Looks like somebody else has different ideas.
What do you mean?
He thinks somebody's trying to kill him.
I see. You want me to run down to New York and talk to him?
He's up at his weekend place now, about 100 miles up the coast, overlooking the sea at Skeleton Point. You can talk to him there.
Skeleton Point. Now, that's a cheerful name.
I know. Johnny, make sure it stays just a name.
Bob Bailey in the exciting adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
And now, Act One of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Eastern Trust and Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. Following is an account of expenses incurred during my investigation of the 11 o'clock matter. Expense account item 1, $8.40, gas and mileage on my car to Skeleton Point through a drenching rainstorm. The Appleton home, perched high on a cliff at the edge of the sea, was an old weather-beaten affair, but right now it looked mighty good to me.
Yes.
Is this Mr. Appleton's house?
This is the Gregory house.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Appleton only leases this house.
Oh, I see. Well, is he at home? I believe he's expecting me.
You're Mr. Dollar?
Yes.
I'm Mrs. Gregory, the housekeeper. Come in.
Mrs. Gregory had a strong, determined face and dark, metallic, piercing eyes. She took my coat and pointed to a door across the entry hall. I was conscious of her eyes following me as I entered the library to find two men seated in front of an open fire.
Johnny Dollar?
Yes, sir.
I'm Al F. Appleton. This is my attorney, Grant Hillman.
Well, how are you, Mr. Dollar?
Well, a little damp, Mr. Hillman.
Oh, yeah, here. Sit down to the fire, dry out.
Oh, thanks. Ooh, feels good.
And slightly warmer than the welcome the housekeeper gave you, I imagine.
Mrs. Gregory? Well, she did seem a little reserved.
She's a widow, owns his house. But I love the place, so... anyway, I'm glad you came.
I understand there's been some sort of attempt on your life, Mr. Appleton.
Well...
Mr. Appleton has received several, crank notes lately. We thought it wise to take what precautions we could.
Have you notified the police, Mr. Hillman?
No, I vetoed the idea, Johnny.
Oh, why, Mr. Appleton?
I didn't want that kind of publicity right now. My advertising agency's right in the middle of landing a fat new account.
Your agency is A, B, and C.
That's right.
Who are B and C?
C is nobody. Tom Baker and I liked the idea of ABC, but we didn't have any other partners, so C just stands for company.
Oh, this Tom Baker is your only partner, then?
He was. There's some question as to whether he still is.
I don't follow you.
Al, I don't think there's any need to go into that now.
I guess you're right, Grant. Anyway, I don't want to accuse Tom of anything until I've had a chance to go over the books this weekend.
Al, did I hear someone at the door a moment?
This is Johnny Dollar, Laura. Mr. Dollar, my wife.
Oh, I see. How do you do, Mr. Dollar?
Mrs. Appleton?
Dollar, the crank letters Al has been getting are up in my room. I'll bring them down.
Okay, Mr. Hellman.
You'll stay overnight with us, won't you, Johnny?
Now, haven't you imposed on Mr. Dollar enough, dear? Perhaps he has business back in the city.
Nonsense. And with that storm out there, I'll have Mrs. Gregory make a room for him.
Well, would you like a drink, Mr. Dollar?
No, thanks. Mrs. Appleton, you seemed rather surprised when you saw me here.
Oh, did I?
Almost as though you were expecting someone else.
Someone else? Why, no, I wasn't expecting anyone in particular.
Well, perhaps I just... Wait, hold it.
What's the matter?
That flash of lightning, there's someone outside that window.
Oh, no, you must be wrong.
Stay right here. I grabbed my coat and went out into the storm. Because of the prowler, sure. But also because of Laura Appleton. Because she'd been staring at that same window, shaking her head quickly as though warning someone. But outside in the downpour and the mud, I could see no one, no footprints. Finally, I went back inside to the phone in the entry hall to call the local police. But the phone was dead. Maybe the storm had knocked down the lines. Yeah. Or maybe someone just wanted to make sure we'd have a nice, cozy weekend, undisturbed. And my hunch was, it might be too cozy for comfort.
Act 2 of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, in a moment.
And now for another episode in the life of Sergeant Donald Bellwether, my husband. Donald?
Yes, dear?
How much farther is it?
Oh, about 100 miles.
You're not getting sleepy, are you?
No. I'm all right. Now, you just close your eyes, honey, and take another nap. We'll be home soon.
Okay. You stay awake now.
Yeah, I will.
I still think we should have stopped at the hotel.
That'll be enough of that.
Donald?
Huh?
Donald, are you awake? What happened?
Nothing, Reba. It's all right. I guess I'm getting a little sleepy, that's all. I'm going to stop a while, take a little nap.
It's a good idea. So, what if we do get home later than we planned? At least we'll arrive in good health.
Yeah, you're so right. About 1,800 American drivers lose their lives each year because they fall asleep at the wheel. Well, I'm just not going to make it 1,801.
Are we parked far enough off the highway?
Oh, yeah, we're way off the road, honey. I'll just take a nap for about an hour. I'll be refreshed, and we'll be on our way again, huh?
All right, dear.
Yes, sir. I'm not going to make it 1,801. And you're not going to make it 1,802 either.
Oh, that's my Donald. That's my doll.
And now, Act 2 of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and the 11 o'clock matter.
Did you see anybody outside, Mr. Dollar?
In that rain, Mr. Hellman, I couldn't see 10 feet in front of me.
Can you describe the face you saw at the window?
Well, it was more of a silhouette. I couldn't even tell if it was a man or a woman.
You sure you did see someone, Johnny?
Yes, reasonably sure, Mr. Appleton.
Come in.
Your partner is here, Mr. Appleton.
Tom Baker?
Hello, Al. I thought I'd surprise you. I tried to call you earlier, but your phone was out.
Well, this is a surprise. Well, I'd like you to meet Johnny Dollar.
Hi.
Tom, you're soaking wet.
My car hit a big puddle about half a mile down the road and quit on me. I had to walk the rest of the way.
Did you just now get here, Mr. Baker?
Yes, why?
Mr. Dollar thought he saw someone outside the window a few minutes ago.
Oh, no, I just now got here.
Well, I got some extra clothes up in my room that should fit you, Tom. Let's get you changed before you catch cold.
Thank you, Hellman.
Oh, look, this rain is getting all of us down. Why don't we live a little?
Huh?
Al, how about going down to the beach house, building a fire, playing some records, having some drinks, huh?
Yeah, it might be a good idea.
Where's the beach house?
Down near the bottom of the cliff with a beach. It's real nice.
But in this weather?
Oh, there's a stairway leading down.
Yes, why don't we go down there? I'm getting the creeps just sitting around here like this.
So we went down to the beach house. The rain had let up a little, but nobody seemed to feel much like a party. We just sat there in front of the fire, not saying much. Once or twice I thought I detected Laura Appleton and Tom Baker exchanging quick glances, but I couldn't be sure.
That's the intercom from the house, Al.
Oh, yeah, I'll get it. Yes? Oh, yes, Mr. Gregory. You can go on to bed. We won't be needing you anymore tonight.
You know, bed sounds like a good idea. Oh, it's almost 11 and I'm beat, so if you'll excuse me.
Oh, sure. Well, why don't we all...
Could we have our talk now?
Oh, okay, Tom, if you insist. Laura, why don't you fix us another drink?
All right, Al.
How about you, Mr. Dollar?
Yeah, I'm with you, Hellman. Let's go on up to the house.
The rain has let up.
Yeah. Mr. Hillman, I didn't come with you because I was tired. I wanted to talk to you.
I thought as much.
Earlier this evening, Appleton said something about not wanting to accuse Baker of anything until he'd gone over the books this weekend. What did he mean?
Well, I'm not really sure, Mr. Dollar. All I know is that Al seems to think he may have found some irregularities in the books of his advertising agency.
Oh?
Well, if there is anything wrong, I'd blame myself partially.
How so?
Well, I manage most of Al's affairs, but the agency has been running so smoothly, at least so I thought, that, well...
I see.
That's going to change as of right now. I didn't come up to go to bed either. I'm going to work on those books. Ought to take me about an hour. It's just about 11 now. Will you be up by midnight?
Yeah. I'd like to know what you find out.
Where's that light switch? I never could remember. Dollar.
What is it?
There's somebody else in here.
Look out. What?
Oh! Dollar!
I guess I was out only a few seconds because the clock was still striking when Hellman brought me to.
Dollar, are you all right?
What? Yeah, I guess so.
I grabbed at him, whoever he was, but he knocked me loose. By the time I got the lights on, he was gone. Oh. Lucky for you, he only stunned you momentarily.
Oh, brother. Hillman, did you see where he went?
Well, he didn't leave by this front door here, I'm sure of that.
Then he must be still in the house. We worked our way through the house room by room. Finally, 10 minutes later, we stood by an open window in a back room.
Well, there's our answer. You got out this window.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the matter?
What? Oh, Mrs. Gregory.
Yeah, Mr. Dollar was attacked by a prowler.
A prowler? What? That's terrible.
Where's the intercom to the beach house? We'd better tell Mr. Appleton.
Right there on the wall.
This button here?
Yeah.
No answer. Come on, Hillman, let's get down there. We pounded out of the house and along the path to the edge of the cliff. Then we found her, Laura, standing at the top of the wooden stairway. One section of the railing was broken away. We looked over the cliff. There was a body lying on the rocks down below. It was Al Appleton.
Act 3 of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, in a moment.
Do you know who said, democracy is based upon the conviction that there are extraordinary possibilities
in ordinary people. Those words came from the American religious leader, Harry Emerson Fosdick. From the earliest days of the United States of America, there has been the sentiment that the average person can achieve an important goal if he is given an environment in which he can develop his capabilities to the fullest extent. An environment in which the individual is given the rights and privileges that he needs for development. It is the duty of every American to protect and stimulate this environment. Remember the words of Harry Emerson Fosdick. They are part of your American heritage. The extraordinary possibilities of ordinary people are inherent in American democracy. And now, Act 3 of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and the 11 o'clock matter.
We stood on the stairway at the top of the cliff looking down at Appleton's body on the rocks below. That is, Hillman and I did. Laura Appleton was in a state of shock, and we couldn't get much sense out of her. We had Mrs. Gregory take her back to the house, then Hillman and I got a flashlight and climbed down the rocks to Appleton's body.
Dead, Mr. Dollar. We'd better not move that body until the police get here.
Yeah. Let's see. His wristwatch stopped at 10 after 11. It's 11:30 now.
Right.
And because the clock was just striking 11 when I got hit over the head in the entry hall...
Yeah, so then we must have spent 10 or 15 minutes searching the house for that prowler.
Meantime, he or somebody else was shoving Appleton over the cliff.
Somebody else?
There were a couple of people with Appleton down at the beach house.
Laura and Tom Baker. I'd forgotten about Tom. Where is he?
Right now, Hillman, that's a very good question. We went back to the house. The phone was working now, so I put in a call to the local sheriff's office. But all the units were out on call. They'd send somebody as soon as they could. I started for Laura Appleton's room. Grant Hillman overtook me in the hall.
Dollar, I made a preliminary check of the agency records Appleton brought up here with him this weekend.
Did you find a shortage?
Yes, possibly as much as $50,000.
I see. Thanks, Hillman.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
Come in. Oh, Mr. Dollar. I'm feeling better now.
I'm sorry to bother you with questions, Mrs. Appleton, but I'm afraid I have no choice.
Yes, I understand.
I want you to tell me exactly what happened.
Well, I'll try. After you and Grant Hillman left the beach house, my husband and Tom Baker and I sat there a few minutes. And then Tom left.
I see.
Then, a couple of minutes later, somebody from the house called my husband on the intercom, so he left me.
What time was that?
A few minutes after 11, I guess.
Uh-huh. What happened then?
I sat there a few minutes longer. Then I just didn't feel like sitting there alone, so I started up the stairway. When I got to the top, I saw that the rail had been broken away. I looked over the edge.
Okay. Mrs. Appleton, why did Tom Baker come here this evening?
I don't know.
I think you do.
What?
You tried to warn him when I saw his face at the window earlier.
His face?
And the two of you kept exchanging glances all evening.
I know you're wrong.
Listen, Grant Hillman's in a position to know something about your husband's business affairs, isn't he?
Well, of course. Why?
Your husband suspected a shortage. Hillman confirmed it a few minutes ago after going over the records.
Oh, but surely you don't think that Tom Baker
Baker was your husband's partner. Maybe he came up here to try to square things with him. Was that it?
No. Oh, all right. Tom did come up here to talk to my husband.
What about?
I was going to ask for a divorce.
To marry Tom Baker?
Oh, I know it sounds sordid now after what's happened, but it wasn't that way at all. Tom and I wanted everything in the open. We wanted to tell Al. But I didn't realize that you and Grant were going to be here this weekend. That's why I tried to signal Tom not to come in.
Go on.
Down at the beach house, he wanted to talk to Al, but, well, I guess he couldn't bring himself to it. That's why he went for a walk.
And you haven't seen him since?
No. Oh, Mr. Dollar, I know my story doesn't sound very convincing, but if you're trying to suggest that either Tom or I killed my husband...
Yeah?
Dollar, could I see you a minute?
Oh, sure. I'll talk with you later, Mrs. Appleton. What is it, Hillman?
Tom Baker just walked in.
Baker?
Yes, I thought you'd want to talk to him.
I sure do. Look, Mrs. Appleton claims somebody called her husband at the beach house on the intercom a few minutes after 11. If so, that's what lured him up to the top of the stairway.
A few minutes after 11. Well, that's when you and I were searching the house.
We ended up at the intercom last, though. Somebody could have had time to make that call.
Now, wait a minute. Mrs. Gregory was near that room when we got to it.
Yeah, I know. Why don't you question her, Hillman, while I see what I can get out of Baker?
The fifth time, Dollar, I didn't have anything to do with it. I went for a walk on the beach. I didn't even know Appleton was dead until Grant Hillman told me a few minutes ago. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid we'll have to let the police decide that, Baker.
Sheriff Station, Maloney.
Hello, Johnny Dollar at the Appleton place. I'm still waiting for one of your units.
Oh, yeah, we're sorry, Mr. Dollar. We've had a lot of calls on account of the storm.
Well, you're not the man I talked to when I called before.
No, that was Harris. He went off duty at 1. He left me a message about your call, and we'll have somebody up there within 15 minutes.
Okay, thanks. That's funny.
Well, Mrs. Gregory denies making that call on the intercom, Dollar.
Huh? Oh, yeah, okay, Helen.
Well, what's the matter?
Something that sergeant said over the phone. Hey, wait a minute. What time have you got?
Why, 10 minutes of 1?
Yeah? That's what my watch says, too. But according to the sergeant, it was after 1. I checked the big clock in the entry hall and the one in the living room. They both agreed with my watch, 10 minutes of 1. I slipped outside, unlocked my car door, and looked at the clock on the dashboard. It read 10 after 1. When I felt a gun in my back, I realized I'd come up with the answer a little too late.
It's a pity, Dollar. I thought I had a foolproof idea, but I hadn't figured on your locking the car.
So it was you hit me over the head when the clock was striking 11. Who called Appleton at the beach house, lured him up the stairway, and shoved him over. Then came back and reset my watch and the clock so I'd hear it still chiming 11 when you brought me to. I thought I'd only been out a few seconds. Actually, it was 15 minutes.
Yes, but you're the only one who knows. Now get in the car. We're leaving.
I started to get in, then kicked at the car door behind me. It swung and knocked Hillman off balance. Before he could recover, I nailed him. Oh! By the time he came to, the sheriff's patrol had arrived. And Hillman, you know, he wasn't one bit happy to see them. Expense account item 2, $13 even. Transportation back home. Total expenses, $21.40. And a real bargain, if I do say so myself. Remarks? Hillman's motive was money, of course. It was he who'd taken the $50,000 from Appleton's agency. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, originates in Hollywood and is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Today's story was written by Robert Wright. Heard in our cast were Eleanor Audley, Paula Winslowe, Larry Dobkin, Will Wright, Ben Wright, and Harry Bartell. Be sure to join us next week, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is Dan Cubberly speaking.
Has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
Welcome back. A pretty good episode, and what I liked is the solid number of suspects, particularly for this era. Too often, the solution becomes almost immediately obvious because there aren't enough characters who could be plausible perpetrators, and Robert Wright introduced plenty. However, I think once the murder happened, it did become a bit obvious who did it, although it took a while for firm proof to show up. It was kind of weird that Johnny effectively deputized Hillman for some reason. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense given Hillman's position in this story, but it does make me wonder whether Robert Wright might have repurposed this from another script where that sort of arrangement made more sense. The Donald Bellwether PSA was probably one of the better ones and managed to really illustrate the lesson it was trying to teach. Most of the time, by necessity, these were often meant to be conversational, breezy ways of talking about serious messages on traffic safety. But this time they were able to practically illustrate the concept they were trying to bring home to the audience. It was one of the best commercials I ever heard where everyone fell asleep at the end. Listener comments and feedback now. And we start out on Spotify with some comments from Harrison. Regarding the Latin lovely matter, Harrison writes, Juanito Peso was the highlight. If this episode had about 2 more minutes, it would have been a stronger episode if they showed Carmela's full breakdown and confession. I agree. I do think that one challenge of these later episodes is that they were so constricted on time, so they had to exposit some things that really should have been shown. And then he writes regarding the Broderick Matter Omnibus, a favorite story of mine. Bob Bailey leads a cast of amazing actors in this one. I'd forgotten a lot of details for this one, so it was nice hearing it in its entirety. The inflection Bailey has as Dollar really shows his deep compassion. I felt like I was in the room right next to him. And that's a great point. Definitely the power of the performance and of radio drama in general. And regarding the Alkali Mike matter, so the sergeant went from working with Mr. Chameleon to Johnny Dollar. Now that's a tonal shift. And that was regarding the Alkali Mike matter, but I don't think that might have been the clearest recording, but I am almost certain that Frank Butler, who played Sergeant Dave Arnold, was not in that episode. It can be hard to tell who was in it, but thankfully John Abbott does have the cast information, which didn't include Butler, who was still doing New York radio until at least the late 1950s, so wouldn't have been in a Hollywood program from 1957. Then we go to YouTube. Comments on the ingenious jeweler matter. Mechanic 6682 writes, the method with the wire in the locked room was very reminiscent of a Poirot story where there was string and a squealing pig balloon used. Well, that particular story had been out nearly 20 years at the time this episode aired, so it may have been a source of inspiration. And another listener writes, since Johnny Dollar is a contractor, I would probably estimate his compensation would be daily expenses plus 30% of the policy. Large insurance companies have in-house lawyers and in-house investigators, but I'm sure their underwriters would insist on them hiring an outside independent specialist like Johnny Dollar for high-profile policies. I think that's a possibility. The problem with concluding that that's, what Johnny was really getting paid is he's not always used for those sort of cases. From a writing standpoint, the appeal of Johnny Dollar is that you've got a very wide open field where you can essentially write anything insurance related. But if you imagine that Johnny is a highly paid specialist, A lot of the cases he is offered and that he takes make no sense. Take the Broderick matter. It's a $1,500 policy, so if he was charging 30%, the insurance company would pay out $450 plus expenses, which would not make sense for them. But it also wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for Johnny. $450 in a week is a good week's work in 1955. But there's such a thing as opportunity cost. If you're running out on $1,500 insurance policies, you could miss the call when somebody's calling about a $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 policy. Not only that, but keep in mind 1950s tax rates. Johnny Dollar is a single man who doesn't own a home, doesn't likely have a ton of tax deductions. Once you get above $70,000 in taxable income, and keep in mind that's $1955, you would have been taxed at 80% plus tax rates. And if Johnny was getting paid like that, because he deals with enough big policies, it wouldn't take him more than 3 or 4 months to start bumping up against that. It actually became a feature of the Nero Wolfe novels of the era and into the 1960s when the tax rates went down, that Wolfe would essentially work until he got up into the 90% tax bracket, and then he would just stop. So all that to say, I think that the listener is probably guessing correctly for some cases, but just because Johnny's cases are all over the place in terms of the type, it's still not something you can easily guesstimate. And because we are off for a week, we had comments on another episode, the Latin Lovely Matter. Ronser writes, "Wow, Adam, you found one I haven't heard." And Mechanic 6682 says, "That was like a concert after the episode." I know, a lot of those armed forces radio and television service programs will end with a good deal of music because they aired without commercials. Now, oftentimes they would add in various public service announcements, but sometimes even with the PSAs, it wouldn't be enough to get the program to the length that the AFRTS needed it to be to make their schedule work, so then we get a little bit of a mini concert. Saysoff writes, "Regarding the hapless hunter matter, hey Adam, I just want to second the person who wrote the email about the impossibility of staging a shooting incident by hanging a rifle from the ceiling. But in addition to the things that this person already mentioned, there were a couple other things wrong with the plot. To begin with, the guy who got shot in the shoulder said he got shot with a .30-30. But we later learned that he actually got shot with a .22. And Johnny should have picked up on that. I mean, getting shot with a .22 would have caused relatively minor damage, while getting shot with a .30-30 would have blown the guy's whole shoulder off. Also, at one point, the guy stated that he had used the .30-30 to shoot something at 200 yards. That's not plausible either due to the ballistic characteristics of a .30-30 bullet. Certain bullets, including the .30-30 and the .357 Magnum, are really just for short-range use. That's because when you shoot one of these bullets parallel with the ground, it will start losing altitude quite quickly. By the time the bullet travels about 150 or so yards, it will have fallen either to or close to the ground. Now, had the guy been using something like a 30-06 or a 25-06, hitting a target at 200 yards would have been no problem at all. As for this week's episode, I'm with Ronser in that I've never heard this one, and I really have to wonder what I'd do if I were to be awakened from a deep sleep by such a sexy sounding voice. Well, thanks for the comment, Ronser. I appreciate it. As to being awakened like that, I would kind of assume she was either a spy or an assassin or something like that, and be a bit nervous. But maybe that's because I've watched and listened to too many mysteries, if such a thing is actually possible. And then on our listener survey, D. Bassman from New York City writes, "This is my go-to show for daily diversion and pleasure." Well, thanks so much. So glad to be of help. Well, now it is time to thank our Patreon supporter of the day, and I want to go ahead and thank Carol Ann, Patreon supporter since April 2019, currently supporting the podcast at the Shamus level of $4 or more per month. Thanks so much for your support, Carol Ann, and that will do it for today. If you're enjoying the podcast, please follow us using your favorite podcast software, and be sure to rate and review the podcast wherever you download it from. We'll be back next Friday with another episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. But join us back here tomorrow for Dragnet, where...
Please find them, Sergeant. Find them.
Yes, ma'am. Come on, honey. Take it easy, huh? It's just never happened to us before, Sergeant. Joan and Tilly have never gone off like this. It's not like them, that's all. Only babies, really.
Yes. Would you like me to get that for you, Mr. Carson?
Yes, sir. Would you please?
Sure. Oh, hi, Wilkie.
Joe, anything?
No, not yet. You?
Want to step outside?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ralph and I checked with a guy who runs an ice cream wagon. He works the area in the park where the kids disappeared.
What'd he tell you?
He saw a couple of little girls about a half mile from that eucalyptus grove. About 3 o'clock this afternoon. They were with a man.
Yeah.
Says he saw the man put the kids in a truck. Drove off with them.
I hope you'll be with us then. In the meantime, send your comments to box13@greatdetectives.net. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives, and check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/greatdetectives. From Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.